You saw Tequin fly off in a hurry. I believe you were exploring. You had a chat with him, a little, or her, sorry, a little while earlier. Um,
Yep. The
uh,
last thing I was doing, I was with cleric and companion
Hi, Sakel.
Hara and Sokel, investigating that temple from memory,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
that religious site of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As you open a bag of chips.
And I
Indeed.
believe that I was basically just 100 meters off, mounted on Overwatch, because I have no idea what the hell anything is.
Okay. I remember describing that you saw um Tequin flying off in a direction.
Oh, right, there was. Did we have a conversation with some paladins or a conversation talking about some
The
paladins?
Quinin had a conversation with some Templars who are travelling north to Mendev to join the crusade against the Warwind. And she shared this with you, and then
I know I was kind of out of it last week.
Sakel came running up to Hire to say that to say something. And Sakel ran off to find a horse, you think? And Tequinin agreed with Hire that he would fly off after Donovan, which he did.
Okay.
Okay. So
Then I would be looking at things strangely.
Yes, you can look at things strangely.
I'm not going to immediately act.
Quinin had caught up with Donovan.
Quite quickly, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this was the end of last session, and I think Donovan had explained that one of his kind of
There was an absence of spirits in the area, except for this one area right over here that he's going to go check out. He didn't really want to let High and everybody know until he actually had something to go on, though.
immediate area, but yes.
Yeah.
So you've gone running off, and you were accompanying him, Quinin, I believe.
Yes. How far away is this area with high spirit concentration?
I believe it was about, somewhere between 7 and 12 miles.
Yeah.
Translate it to metric and then translate it to
About
how long
half
it'll
a
take
hex
us?
to a hex.
Yep. Seven miles is about 11 kilometers. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll go with him, basically.
I'm getting along surprisingly well on horseback.
And Alara presumably will just simply spend the rest of the time exploring the area and mapping it.
Yes.
De Haviland is also with me, so, there's some support.
Okay.
I do specifically remember that because I made use of his whistling armor.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
And I don't want to retcon it and say that Levi came with Donovan, because I think I plainly forgot to say that Levi was coming, so he's probably just back at the caravan, trying to make sure that they don't get attacked again.
Well, that would be good. It's true.
Yeah.
Do you have some way of summoning him if you need to?
Nope. I could try seancing him.
No, that would work, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but other than that, no.
No. Okay, well. Okay, I've just asked a couple of questions, but we can continue.
Yep, I've sent you a response.
Okay, thank you.
The plan was
So you
once we get to like a mile or two to where I think it might be, I was going to use my fancy spancy new arcane eye to kind of look out ahead and down below to see, like, kind of put an eye up in the sky and look down and see what all's going on. When we get close, that is. Well, close to where I think it is.
How was your evade calculated in this system?
It is your reflex save plus half your base attack bonus.
plus any specials you might have.
Yeah. Donovan occasionally summons frogs to kind of just like poke them and amuse himself along the trip before going back to paying attention.
So you're how far ahead are you sending this arcane eye?
I can make it at any point where I can see, so whenever I get to someplace that I think this is about 6 miles out, I'm going to put an eye up as far as I can to the direction that we're heading in and have it look down and just see what I can see.
Okay.
Well, up in the sky, like a few hundred feet, and have it looking down. Probably won't be able to see like any particular creatures, but like kind of just like more of a landmark kind of deal.
Okay.
Actually, I have to double check that spell.
You see the land sloping. Which direction are you sending it in?
The way that we are going towards, the way I think that this thing is at.
Well, you're kind
You
of
said
traveling parallel to the river, which you could probably start to see from your vantage point. So you can send it in front of you to your right, which would send it kind of towards the ridge, to your left towards the river, probably, and not probably. I'm guessing not behind you. I'm very confused. Why is that not working? It's not working. Okay. Which direction are you sending it in, dude?
Just still off in the direction that I think it's gonna be.
Well, don't tell me.
We were heading east, so I guess it would be further off east.
So you can say north is in ahead of you, yes?
Yes. I thought that we were heading east because that's where the thing was.
You're heading east, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So if you think about it, you're heading east, okay? So I'm just simply asking you direction-wise where you want to send the eye, because depending upon which direction you send it, obviously you do different things.
It's going east.
It's going east. Marvellous. Fuck. I've been having increasing problems with Roll20 this week.
I've noticed it's been a lot laggier than usual.
It's been quite ropey.
Yeah, my game last night wouldn't run for 3 of my players at all.
Well, 20, don't die on us.
It's just being a bit buggy, that's all. It's just stuff isn't working that should work.
I think it needs more load.
Yeah, quite possibly right. Okay, you send it in front of you. The land slopes downwards to the left of your view. You might be just at a high enough vantage point to make out on the horizon point a sign of water, presumably the river you are looking to cross. To your right, the land slopes upwards to the ridge, whereupon you found you found that kind of serendipity. And then ahead of you, there's a very slight incline. You think the land generally is rising the further you go east. And it's more noticeable probably as you look through your third eye, as there are less distractions and it has more of your attention.
So, probably what the two Wyverns would see is just Donovan kind of concentrating off on something like he's just looking at the sky with a very confused look for a second. And he kind of snaps back and says, I'm not really seeing anything interesting ahead.
We have not arrived there yet.
No, I guess not. Guess it's a bit further. By the way, I can only do that once. So you're probably gonna have to do the scouting. Beyond. You don't know what he's talking about though, because invisible eye.
Yeah, I sort of look at you with a bit of a sort of, okay, fair enough.
How close are you flying to him?
I'd be flying at sort of, say, treetop level, following you, because behind you, because you know, you're the, I don't know where we're actually going. You're the one who supposedly knows where this location is.
Yep. Alright. I guess we'll continue on for a few more miles, and if we don't see anything interesting, I'm just gonna stop and start talking to animals.
Okay. Okay, so I'm having IT problems this end, guys. Which I've been having a week with Mod 20.
Asana can now kick things.
Oh, good.
We're at 3/4 here.
Sorry?
We're at 3/4 level? Or half?
Half.
Okay.
Okay, so I can't, for some reason, I'm having severe problems with the Roll20 site. So just be mindful. Weird. Why? How did it end up there?
Magic.
No, I don't think so. Just being a bit rubbish. And I'm guessing that's not transparent. No, it's not transparent anyway.
Donovan looks confused at the world in front of him as it's failed to window.
Yeah, Gimp looks very good, but obviously I'm gonna need to spend time to learn how to use a fucking thing.
Learning curve.
Yes, it does have a learning curve to it, it would seem.
Hey, at least it's not like Photoshop.
There is that. There is that.
Because Photoshop has a learning curve.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you've travelled on a few more miles. I think you said 3. Are you continuing to push your arcane eye up ahead of you?
I can only have that last for 7 minutes, so I was going to just stop and talk to animals.
Okay.
Yeah. So, gonna get off my horse and look around for little creatures.
So I see him get off his horse, I will.
You see him stop and get off his horse, indeed.
down and I'll ask, have we arrived? This
No, I'm
looks
looking for something to talk to you.
good. Talk to.
Yes. See if you can find, like, a school or something.
You are able to talk to animals.
Yes, can you not? He looks at him confused.
Well, some are more intelligent lizards, maybe, but not generally. I will sort of have a look around, see if I spot an animal.
Donovan's gonna do the same.
Okay.
Oh, and also gotta do this.
Okay.
How does one survive?
So the three of you saw a wild hare very briefly, and then it ran into its burrow at the sight of you.
I have one very important thing. That's the thing that everybody gets wrong. Hares live on the ground, rabbits burrow.
Okay. Rabbit.
That's an entirely pointless thing. That
Fine. No, it's
nonetheless
fine. It's fine. So,
nonetheless, one of the pet peeves around here because people compare hares and rabbits and get them wrong all the time.
Uh-huh. Seeing that it runs into the hole, Donovan is going to move over towards the hole and use, let's see, command to make it approach me.
Okay.
It is a DC 19 to...
Spell level potato.
Okay. How are you targeting it, dude?
Can I see it when I look inside the hole? I do have dark vision.
It's great. You can see a small cinder of tunnel earth.
I'll start looking around for some insects.
Okay. Insects you find.
Alright. Changing into a chirping noise, Donovan asks the insects, have you seen anything weird going on? Wait, hold on. Do animals count? Do insects count as animals for that?
No. Within the great world of Pathfinder, insects are vermin, and therefore come under the vermin class. So no, you can't speak to insects. But there are loads of them around.
Shall we just return?
Let's just keep going. Just a bit further.
Okay. So are you going straight ahead? Are you going up to the bridge or closer to the bridge?
I'm gonna try to look at the sun and figure out which way east is, and I'm gonna keep going east.
You're pretty sure that east is, in general terms, the direction you're heading. But of course, if you're a mile away from somewhere, then kind of east is everywhere that's, in a given direction, but it doesn't mean kind of it's directly east, if that makes sense.
Do you know if this location would be some sort of structure, a building, perhaps?
With how it sounded, it's probably something that we'll know when we see it. So you might be able to spot it from above. But also, other things might be able to spot you at that point.
Well, if they do.
Yeah, just watch for any stray arrows.
I always do. Yeah, I'll take to the sky, see if I spot anything sort of due east, but see if there's anything that catches my attention.
Okay, please have a look. How far up are you going, dude?
Also, look just completely around us, because it might be in any direction. I was just going in this general area.
Correct. The Queen?
I'll call it a mile-wide search pattern.
How high up? That's what I want to know.
High up, talk maybe 150 feet.
Okay.
So, not so high that I can't discern detail.
Understood.
Yeah. I'll head up alone. De Havilland will stay with Donovan. And yeah, let's see, you want me to roll what? Perception, survival, both?
Perception, please.
27.
This high up from the ground, Quinn will know that she won't see an awful lot necessarily more than what you'll see from a high point on the ground. That having been said, you can see a little bit more of the outline of that river on the horizon point, and it's like a line that's going where it's definitely kind of curving much more northward than eastward. But you can't really see much more than that at this height. Ahead of you, don't really see an awful lot more, and the same inland. You're just sort of seeing a few more hills, a few more rocks, a few more burrow entrances to shy rabbits who strangely don't like the shadows of flying things coming near them.
Yeah, strangely.
Yeah. Particularly very big ones.
I'll take it higher. Say a good 400 or 500 foot.
Okay. Okay. As you start to climb, you begin to notice a bit more about the river. And the fact that it definitely seems to be thinning. Doesn't seem to be quite as broad, you think, at this point, although, which is kind of, I guess, interesting. And in fact, the way ahead, it looks like the river kind of bows, so it comes back on itself. So if the caravan was to kind of keep going parallel to the river, it will actually kind of go smack back into it because the river does kind of curve around itself and then seem to kind of head south for a period and then east again. So I think it goes quite sharply north, then does a kind of like a bow south and then off east again. And then looking inland, apart from a general kind of incline upwards, signs of more rockiness amongst the hills, not a lot really. Oh, yeah, looks like, yeah, it definitely looks like there's some thin areas to potentially to kind of that might be certainly less intimidating to cross. Sort of coming up for the caravan, where that river's narrowing. That could be good news.
Yeah. Nice. Anything that might point to an old structure, possibly a part of the.
Your view is that you're too far away to get that kind of detail. If there was anything that was obvious, you'd see it from up here. But bear in mind that the river's near the horizon point, so you don't have a good view of it. And anything that kind of goes towards where the land sort of ridges, anything that's the other side of that ridge, you probably won't see either.
Fair enough. I'll descend back down.
It's not like you're looking over the plains or you're kind of several miles up with an aerial view. Yeah. You're kind of you're looking at a vantage point, but it's slanted against the land.
Yeah. I'll come back down.
Okay.
So it doesn't seem to be anything too obvious around here.
Well, let's just keep going. This is something that's rather important, and if possible, I'd very much like to figure out what it is. If this goes into the next day, I can get us a much better idea of which direction it is in, but as it stands right now, east is my best guess.
Okay. You going to keep on going?
Seeing as he's quite adamant on this, what I'll do is I'll have de Havilland fly at about maybe 2,000-3,000 feet, and have the Tequinin, who is a much better flyer, take up maybe somewhere between 30 and 35,000 feet. Sort of absolute limit of what a bird, basically, could do.
I say somewhat higher, but yeah. You're
Well,
basically,
again, I'm trying to convert from meters, so I might be doing my conversion wrong. But
it sounds a little bit high to me, but that's fine. You're going to go up much higher to see if that helps effectively.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Do you want to do a perception roll then for de Havilland?
I'll have de Havilland.
I'm happy to keep your 27 from last time for de Quinn.
23.
Okay, right, okay. So now you've got it much higher. You will be able to notice. So you can now you can properly kind of trace the path of the river, and you can see the land on the other side. anything that's kind of directly sort of the other side of the river slopes up to a very kind of large series of kind of hills that kind of dominates and looks down upon the river and the lake below. And you can see what looks to be a rather impressively large tree on the top of those series of hills. You can see on the ridge behind you, so to the south of the river, you'll probably gain a view of that, of some kind of humanoid built structure. Looks like it's made of stone.
Single structure.
Looks a bit more complex than that. But bear in mind you don't get an awful lot of detail this high up, but it's definitely humanoid made.
So it's a humanoid structure south of
where you are, south of where you're flying. To the east, there is basically just more and more kind of rolling hills that are getting steeper and rockier all the time, and much more in the way of sharp ridges, and kind of deep kind of inclined valleys. So that the land to the east basically kind of gets a lot more hard work, and seems to go on for miles and miles. That's where the direction you've flown from, so you're familiar with that. You think that the area you're kind of looking immediately to the north, kind of northeast of crossing the river, is where the land slopes down and sort of seems to keep kind of flat. So that was the kind of place you spoke to kind of Matthias, the caravan master, as the place probably for the caravan to cross. And seeing how the river clearly narrows around there, you still think it's a good. You've given good counsel. But obviously you've got no detail at this high up. Anything else? No, that's probably all you'd see from this point.
Once I'm sort of done having a look-see around, I'll head back down, picking up my brother on the way, and relay my findings to Donovan.
That sounds like it might be it.
Perhaps we've gone too far east and we should be heading south at this time.
Yeah, let's head in that direction.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So where are you going?
Towards the human-built structure I saw.
Okay. That's a little way from here. It's going to be a good. I mean, certainly for Donovan, that's a good. Even with his spiritual aid, it's still going to be a good. Probably 2 days travel for him.
I could always push the horse to make it go faster.
In 2 days. When you consulted your spirit on the location of these spirits, did they give you how far away?
Do you know how messed up the spirit world is? How distances don't really translate well?
Clearly no, I do not.
You could go 5 feet in there, and it's 100 miles here.
Someone should map that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Well, in which case, if that travel is going to take such a long time, I'd recommend we head back to the caravan.
Wait, hold on.
We have...
Was there a road to the south of it? There was a path to the south of it that we traveled on. Right, Ego? To the Serendipity?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of very rough path. I mean, depending on how high these guys flew, you probably imagine that they would have seen the building, but nothing else really.
Donovan, just realizing what Lily was saying, becomes suddenly really upset and says, "Oh, let's just go back. We've already been there. It's the thing we know. I guess Lily might have... Actually, what time of the day is it?
It's probably mid-afternoon by this point.
Yeah, let's start heading back, and I'm gonna keep note about which direction from us that place is up till the night. Because...
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll send... yeah, we'll start heading back, I guess.
And whenever we go to rest for the night, that's my first question of the morning.
Okay, so you guys are heading back. By the time you guys get back, the caravan's probably stopped for the day, effectively, kind of the Teamsters are going around checking for.
What time would we arrive back at the caravan?
Back at the caravan, late afternoon, I'd say.
If I were to fly ahead, Tequinin on our own, is it possible I could find the Four Templars or Paladins or whatever they're supposed to be?
Potentially, it's yeah, you could. What do you have? Dark vision or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I do. 60 foot. It's not a lot.
Not a lot. So,
low.
It's kind of a half moon. Although the moon, you notice, is kind of growing actually. So it's probably 3/4 moon actually. So that would be helpful, but it's whether or not you can find them. If they kept on the route they were, then you could fly off. But it's still, from where you are now, it's going to take you a little time to get there. You'd probably kind of have to fly. You probably have to fly the night to or at least kind of a good portion thereof to get to them from here.
In which case, I won't.
It's late afternoon, so maybe by midnight you could be kind of in their rough vicinity. Just thinking about because you are flying. If I'm thinking it, kind of as you would fly, then yeah, you could do. You could probably...
No, I'll meet them in the morning.
Okay. All right, very good. Alara, apart from your excellent mapping and exploration. On the subject of which, obviously you can only map this side of the river. You can't map the other side. So if a river goes through a hex, I'm going to assume that you're going to map basically kind of to the south of the river. Yeah?
That seems fairly logical.
But it would also be possible, given if you're not doing anything else. So if a river's is only allowing you to kind of scout a third to half of that hex, then I'm going to assume you can do the hex south of it. Because with your movement, if you're doing it,
yeah, sure.
Double action, that's fair enough. Okay. So whilst the other two have been, people have been away, and
am I actually getting
found
hexes on the map and haven't been able to find them, or am I just not getting hexes yet?
Oh, you mean have I actually put any down?
Yeah.
I can.
Oh no, I'm just asking because I've done the mistake of putting them on the GM layer before.
Okay, bear with me.
I will point out that I was tracking distance traveled. I just wasn't tracking like mapping. So I know roughly where I am.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm after.
And I'm assuming that these won't exact.
Bear with me, please.
No problem.
Oh, it's failed.
Hexes are good for lots of things. Making lines run due east and west, or north and south, is not always the same thing.
No. All right, I'm just trying to find the right one that would work for this. It's like some little puzzle game.
Something that might be helpful is whenever you have time, like in the GM layer, just make a whole map of the area with them. And then, like, as people find them, just, like, reveal them on the token layer.
You're breaking up, dude. Sorry, dude. You broke up. I couldn't hear myself.
Now you're breaking up for me, but, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So what I was saying was, whenever you have the chance, something that might be useful for stuff like this is, just making the entire map on the GM layer, and as we explore the areas, just moving them to the map layer.
That's not a bad idea. I could look to do that. I mean, my intention had been that you guys actually did this. Rather than, but
yeah. I've marked 2 that might be helpful for you.
What's that? Thank you.
I marked 2 hexes that might be helpful for you. I don't know what you're trying to do, but I think.
No, that's fair enough. All right. Fine.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what you've explored. Obviously.
Oh, so the river is running very much north.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going north and east, but it definitely starts going more north as you're journeying along.
You know, our old map was so accurate, right?
Obviously,
Yeah, I know that.
Obviously, kind of, I'm not saying the gap between this bit of the map you've explored. I'm just saying you've got two floating bits of map that, like a puzzle, you'll hopefully be able to join together.
Hey, Ego, can you select this one?
I can.
Just so it recenters in the hex. And I have a rough guess of how many hexes in between. Do I?
That would seem reasonable. 3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay. Yeah, sure.
So it would be. Oh, I didn't get around.
Not expecting perfect numbers. I'm just, somewhere.
It's snapping to grid in some weird way. All right. I should pay money for this. It's not the people who made it. It's Roll20.
Roll20's wonderful hex space.
Yeah.
Logic.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's very roughly.
Yeah. That's all I'm.
That kind of gives you. So between, so here you'd have, where I'm pinging, you'd have the hill.
Yeah, I was assuming the hill's going to be
about 3 have a lake, and then so roughly
somewhere over here there's a fort.
Yeah, actually, in the fort is here.
Okay. What was the fort called?
Oh, well, they call it Serendipity.
Sweet.
Okay. Okay. Are any of you planning on doing anything this evening?
Informing whatever the cleric was called. I have retrieved Donovan. That I have retrieved Donovan. And then don't know.
So we're somewhere like in the southern half of this hex, I assume. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to consult with our flying gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
And ask them how long it would take them to travel about 50 miles and back.
If you want me, I can do math on your fly speed.
Yeah, if you can do that, Klaus, that'd be very
What's
awesome.
your fly speed?
My flight speed is 40 feet.
Do you want to double move for this?
Hmm?
Do you want to double move? It causes a fortitude save, but you can move twice as fast.
Let me check my fortitude save. No, I don't think so.
Okay. You move at 4.5 miles per hour. Flying. So.
That doesn't make any sort of sense. 4.5 miles per hour flying?
Yep.
Jesus. What am I, a helicopter?
Sorry about that. It's fucking finals week and I fucking slept in.
But yeah,
Hello?
Pathfinder
Downfall.
numbers, don't question them.
Okay.
Yeah, overland speed is weird. So what is it? 4.5.
It takes you 11.1 hours. Oh, 11 hours and 6 minutes.
Yeah, which is kind of roughly what I expected.
So would your companion be willing to bear messages
Potentially.
to Vincent?
Yeah, the Evelyn has the same flight speed I do.
Or you? Doesn't really matter. It's just like, yeah, we're coming. I'm bringing back people and stuff.
Sure, I can bear a message to Venson. My companion can bear a message to Venson. In the morning I was planning to... So it's 11 and a half hours there and back. The Havilland will probably do that.
4.5.
That makes no sort. I'm just trying to figure out, sort of, from a aeronautics perspective, how on earth can a muscle-powered bird fly that slowly and still stay airborne?
It's Pathfinder, don't use science.
Like, not even with the stupidest wing aspect ratio could you do that. It's outstanding.
It's Pathfinder, don't question it. It's because having a character with stupidly high move speed is kind of broken.
Yeah.
I say after I made a character that had a walking speed of 102 miles per hour the other day for another game. And ran at 17 times the speed of sound.
Fine. Personally crazy characters. Right. So, okay. So, Haya and Sakel, thank you for joining us.
Yay.
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 So, it is the evening. Donovan and Tequinin came back, and there didn't seem to be any immediate disasters that you could tell.
Thanks for not fucking up.
You're welcome.
The caravan hire kind of noticed, sort of made a kind of anecdote. Has not enjoyed this detour journey. There is a lot of shouting of teamsters at one another and shouting at them. Quite a few cracked or just plain broken axles. Quite a few of the beasts of burden going lame.
Oh.
So, you're not.
Seeing as she has nothing better to do, I can lend her magical expertise to fix some of those broken axles, heal some of those beasts of burden.
Okay.
How long are the longest logs we're hauling?
The like social services and stuff like that. It's all based at
50 feet probably.
So Alara's going to point out that we have logs that can bridge the gap.
Point out to who?
Everybody in general.
Okay.
Primarily the caravan.
For the purposes of crossing the river.
Hmm. The river's only about 20 foot across.
Wow. One moment, guys. I've had a malfunction here. Yes. It is, however, fast flowing at this point. As it's getting squeezed by the land. That's not necessarily a problem, but it does mean you'd have to find some way of fixing those logs down.
Yes. We have very strong gentlemen. Who are capable of lifting things like people and flight. Are you guys capable of hauling horses through the air?
Because that's kind of the
How much
important
is a horse?
So,
And
who are you
wagons.
discussing this with?
Everybody.
Alright, I would say that as far as she's seen, Matthias is able to conjure bridges out of thin air, so long as the river conditions on the banks
Well,
are at least mildly hospitable.
well, it seemed like he used squills for that. I'm not sure if he had any more of those.
Well, then why don't we ask him? Because the last time people other than Matthias poured over trying to figure out a way across a river here in the Stilden lands, I'd say it was a lot of wasted time.
Donovan
talk
looks
to
sad
Matthews
for a
then.
moment. But, yeah.
Come in, good friends. I trust none of you have found any wine since last night. He looks a bit sad.
Wait, hold on. I've seen a clear Esma create wine before.
Haya says, that's a bit of a parlor trick, and right now I'm fixing broken axles and keeping horses from going lame.
There's nothing wrong with parlor tricks.
You don't say.
Donovan pats a frog that's sitting on his shoulder.
Haya turns her attention back to Matthias. Like clockwork, Matthias, concerns over whether or not we will be able to make the river crossing have yet again emerged.
Yes. And, well, have we found somewhere? Somewhere we could actually transport the caravan, of course.
Our new friends seem to require some reassurance that you will actually be able to summon a bridge.
I fear, not knowing how many tributaries of the Selim we would find, I used my last scroll when we crossed last time.
Ah, drat.
We always have dolphins.
Looks strangely at you.
I seem to remember that yourself and the now poor departed Vanim tried to use your sorcerous powers the river, but I was less than successful.
Yeah,
That's why
I
I
think so.
was hoping to find an actual crossing point of some sort.
And there's not a safe point within
Some
20 miles of you.
reason, for some reason, Clay led me to believe that there was such a place along this part of the river.
Mm.
But not everything that little mad dwarf told me has necessarily proven to be the case.
Mad dwarf.
Mad dwarf to a mad cult of people, but good customers.
Aya nods.
They're a friendly enough bunch. And throw wild parties. Recommend their parties. Now that's all long way from here in the Embeth Forest.
Yes.
So, how are we going to cross this river? Hmm?
Well,
Anna was in here earlier. Not very happy.
I am somewhat familiar with construction, though any bridges I've been involved with have been much smaller than this. If we could get some of your wood across the river, we could build a quite satisfactory, even temporary bridge. It's about 20 foot across.
I think the only problem would be getting it back.
Would there be a way of maybe lashing the trees we'd felled, and then we'd be able to reuse them rather than building a structure where the reuse of the wood might be more challenging?
Well, your longest logs are more than twice the width of the river.
Mm.
It is simple,
Maybe-
idea, but
Maybe if
You
we
could-
wrote them, pinning them down, then is that what you're saying?
yes, yes, and you would easily be able to drag the logs across afterwards.
No. That could work. Well, why don't you in the morning? Why don't you, Lara, isn't it? You seem
Aye.
to know your way comfortably around the land. Why don't you have a look at the river? I think it's this one's called the Shrike. Why don't you have a look at the Shrike and pick a point for us to cross?
Very well.
And then
I assume I have a spot in mind already.
there was one which had some because one of the issues if they want to, because the current's quite fast, so ideally you wouldn't want the current kind of pulling against the log, and then the weight of it is going to put a lot of strain. If you could find something in the middle to support the fallen trees, which is effectively what they are, then that would make...
I'll explain like my simple concept here. I don't know if this is going to work in Pathfinder, but assuming that here is the river, and log is more than double the width of the river. If it's 20 foot.
yeah.
So that makes the log about that big, which means you can push the log across with more weight on the ground than is hanging over the river.
It's whether or not. So yes, it's whether or not how much. It says whether or not the log is resting on the water, so the currents are able to push across it. Or
it entirely depends on the height of the banks. And...
Yeah, exactly. So depending on the height of the bank, because if the bank's that much higher than the river, you're laughing. Yeah, but if it's not, then that's where potentially you're going to get all the the weight of that water basically kind of pushing it against the log. I'm not saying it's not doable.
That being said, the other way to do it is also like you tie a fairly strong cord on the end you want to pull across the river, and you set up a pulley here, and you can pull from this side as well.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, this is like my dead simple army bridge.
Yeah. It makes complete sense. Yeah. It's not a. I'm just. I've been accused in the past of not highlighting due risks to PCs.
Oh yeah. No, it makes perfect sense that it can get washed away.
Yeah. It's more. So Alara will know, looking at the size of the caravan, it will take hours to cross.
Yes, entirely.
So that's the only reason it's in any way complex, is because, if it was just kind of like 10 minutes, then probably the river, you could get, kind of knock these logs down, secure them, and they'd certainly last long enough. It's them having the added weight of these wagons on the logs that will then push them down, potentially on, further into the water, and then having that for, it's a bit more complex.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
But, I mean, you did.
What is the height of the bank, by the way?
It does. Just bear with me. I will confirm. So there's so there are places where the height of the bank might be kind of 5-10 foot, which would be fine. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
There's one place in particular where there's some almost kind of sand banks or where there's kind of, they haven't been eroded away. You notice actually when you were there was quite a lot of driftwood and some kind of ad hoc stones, almost as if someone had tried to make an impromptu bridge before, and maybe you're seeing the remnants of it that's been washed away, where someone clearly tried to use the banks in the middle of the river, and then they've kind of filled in the river with kind of debris, basically. So there's that, and that's probably the easiest place. But there are other places that would be slightly trickier, but it's completely up to you.
Okay.
So I mean
let's just go along with this plan.
That place where it looked like someone had some kind of or tried some kind of impromptu bridge. Looks good, but there are other places along the river. So yeah, with the height of the bank around here, you think you'd be okay.
Let's just go with that. Make it a bit easier.
Yeah. So
I mean, this is an incredibly simple theory of how to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine.
build a bridge, but
Like I said, it's purely you've got over 200 beasts of burden and almost 20 wagons to get across.
oh yeah, this is not the fast way of getting things across the river.
It's just a way to do it, and
So,
let's
you know,
not kind of lingo on it, because if that's the plan and everybody's good for it, no, we'll
Fine.
waste more
So-
time.
I mean, this would be the suggestion Alara would bring up.
it sounds as good as any that are available. When you seem to understand what you're talking about, higher your view.
Let's try it. It's not as if we have a bevy of options.
But you're saying, Alara, that there's no crossing you found.
There is a number of places you could take horses across fairly easily. Um,
There is no safe
But
crossing for the
caravans-
caravan within at least 20 miles of here.
Caravans are much more difficult to cross with.
Very well. Well, if none of you have any wine, then I bid you good night. And in the morning, I guess, Alara, you'll set to work.
Yes. I will speak to Lockheed, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And ask that could he or his brother
Yeah.
perhaps take a message tomorrow.
De Havilland could, yes.
And I will give you like my best guess of where we are. It's roughly north until you hit a road, and then it's a couple miles east. No, not east, west.
The exact direction, then.
Oh.
In
But
which
yes, there are
case it
no
may be
roads
better for
between
me
here and
to
there.
take the message. It may be better for me to take the message, as I am a better orientator than my brother.
Well, all it takes is fly north until you hit a road, then turn left. But if you wish to take it, it's up to you.
Hmm.
I would
I'll
ask
just
though,
quickly
that
check on that.
of the two of you, whoever goes, not report back to the state of the village to the rest. It may
The village is in
certainly
some.
dishearten them to the road.
The village is in
We
some
we
disrepair.
have suffered some setbacks.
Yeah, Diablin will set out. And in the morning, Tequinin will head out to will wait sort of at first light kind of thing.
Mm.
And head.
Who's doing this?
Tequinin will head. Diablan will. They'll both wake up at first light. Diablan will head off to find this place that this settlement that they want me to. They want a message sent to, and Diablan will meet up with the four Templars.
So
I will
De
I
Havilland's going to
will send a written letter.
Fine. So De Havilland's going to meet up with the four Templars, and De Quinin's going to go north.
Other way around. Other way around.
So
The Hammerland is going north to Ensign. Tequinin is meeting up with the...
Very good. Okay.